Spoiler alert, we're unpacking the whole plot, twist by twist. If you're spoiler sensitive, hit pause and come back when your TBR list catches up. Cheers!
Welcome to the podcast where our reading habits are unhinged.
And so are we.
I'm Gabby.
I'm Miranda, and this is Marginally Unwell.
Today, we are cracking open Lies He Told Me by James Patterson and David Ellis. It's a domestic thriller tangled up in secrets, deception, and danger. What starts as a perfect family life quickly unravels. Quickly unravels when old enemies and hidden past resurface. Get ready for a ride where every truth comes with a cost.
Okay. This has been interesting. This was an interesting one. So, I haven't read James Patterson since high school.
Yeah, it's been
A decade.
Oh,
My bad. I hate that.
it's been
But yeah, I don't know. Because it's also like the others.
Yeah,
Is it
I don't know
true?
why I did
But me either.
that David Ellis was on it. I don't even know.
I just read the first author. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I was like, that's makes sense.
That tracks. Ew.
So jumping into this one, we start off with
Marcy.
Marcy Bowers,
The wife.
The Perfect Family. Perfect Family was in Hemingway Grove. Just really sounds like somewhere I don't know.
Honestly, I was going to say that. It gives like small town, cutesy, that kind of vibe.
I think that's like where Hemingway was from. Maybe just like where he lived or something. Because
It was outside of Chicago, wasn't it? They were saying
I
it
don't
wasn't too
remember.
far from Chicago.
But I thought that they had like historical things there.
Yeah.
And people came for like the Hemingway stuff. But
I
it had
think
some,
it- I think it was,
like
like-
connection.
2 hours outside of Chicago. Anyway,
I don't know.
I thought it was a really nice place. It's a small suburban, small town with historical semblance, and everybody knew each other's business. They all went to high school together. That type of town.
Yeah.
It's very cutesy.
So Marcy lives in Hemingway Grove with her husband David, Lincoln, and Grace.
Yes, that's right. And
She is a family law attorney.
yes, family attorney. And David owns a bar, restaurant,
Pub.
yeah. In town. That's pretty popular.
Yep. Do they live as la-di-da?
First two?
Yeah. No. 2 and 3.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about our talking points.
Yeah.
To keep us on track. Which the work is.
So we're gonna go 1, 3, 2.
Which is not information you need at all since you can't see that.
We'll keep that to ourselves.
So basically it starts off, I think it's their anniversary or something, and they're going
Yeah.
on a walk.
Is it their 10-year?
I think so. 10
It's their 10-year anniversary, and they're
He
they're
ended up
going-
taking her to the place where they
met. Yeah, they were doing like a triathlon or something.
some kind of running
Marathon. I was about to say.
some sort of thing like that.
Some
They
kind
met-
of active.
they met on this bridge, basically doing that.
I want to say marathon.
I think marathon is correct. I don't think triathlon is correct.
Triathlon is not correct. I meant
Yeah.
they ran into each other a little bit.
Wow.
How cute! They're at this bridge.
They're reminiscing about 10 years, perfect life, all the things.
Can you imagine life without me?
I don't know where they see a car
Mhm.
swerving all crazy, drives off
Yeah.
the bridge.
Straight, no brakes, and it lands in the river. And this part, this part made me think of that one episode in Smallville.
I knew it. Drives off and he like
Hits Clark.
yeah, and it's like that's because it's in the opening.
I
credits
know, I
of
can't
him,
help
like,
it.
Yeah, like flying off the bridge. It's so crazy you said that. I was talking to somebody yesterday and somehow I think they were playing
The song.
no, it wasn't the song, but they were playing Creed, some Creed song, and I was
Okay.
like, oh, this makes me
Song adjacent.
I think this makes me think it's small, but everybody was like, wow.
What a callback.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know the
Implications, but
culture impact that had in our lives.
so it's crazy that that just got in 2 days. But
Smallville lives rent free.
Honestly, that's
Supernatural.
kind of a good quality show.
Honestly,
Yeah.
yes, that one.
It's
Supernatural.
completely off topic.
Semi on topic.
The bridge.
Oh, we'll circle back. So the bridge.
So the guy who drives off the bridge, David, as the perfect small town person, best husband ever that he is, immediately is just like, I'm going in.
Like, oh, the police, stay on the shore. I'm jumping in.
And he dives in
Yeah.
for people in the car.
The people start congregating because they hear what happened, and she calls the cops.
Congregating?
Congregating. Is that how it works?
You said conjugate. That's
Oh,
what you do.
I meant congregating. Are you sure I said congregate?
99.9.
How does that happen?
I don't know. You
Anyway.
said something earlier before. I wrote that one slide, so I couldn't.
Basically the same thing, just adjacent.
Anyway, people start gathering. Of course, it's the era of the cell phone, and so she's recording everything.
Exactly.
She's calling 911, freaking out because she's like, can't believe he.
Is doing this. She also says that in rescues like this, you should not try and save a drowning person.
Yeah, because you can get like stuck.
Yeah, because they panic, which obviously valid. And then both of them end up drowning.
Yeah,
because they use them as a float or a raft or something.
I thought it was because of like when the car goes under, it creates that suction, like they can pull you under too. Maybe
It's both probably. Because I know whenever somebody is trying to help someone, it's like actually trying, you're supposed to bring like a floaty or something, so you can give that to them.
Yeah.
Is them using you as floaty.
Yeah.
Anyway, probably the vacuum thing too.
Anyway,
she's like freaking out. She's like, breathe. You're under there too long, and she's like, can't keep track of how long.
Well, she also starts out, or the book starts out with her being like, "This is the day our life changed forever," or something like that, crazy. So then he goes under to save them, and she's like panicking. She's like, "We have 2 kids, and he's not coming up," and she's like, "Great."
Yeah. No, he's still alive.
No, I have to prepare.
I know, she's like, you really hear all of her inner monologue. The rescue mission here that I'm sure took less than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
How those thoughts race.
So he eventually does come up with her, helicopter flies over.
Helicopter.
Rescue boats come.
Yeah, which I thought was kind of interesting that the helicopter got there first, which is, makes sense because they don't have any traffic.
But neither does a boat. Not really.
Well, a helicopter can go straight there versus a boat, depending on the river.
I guess that's true.
I wasn't thinking about the boat. I was thinking about the ambulance cops.
Okay.
Because traffic.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe they ran into some jet skiers. I don't know. Helicopter only has birds, and the birds will get out the way. Helicopter gets there. They throw down that ropey ladder.
Yeah.
And she's waiting for David to come up with or without this other civilian. And she's like, I want to live. Yeah, she really was thinking about it. And so eventually he does come up, and she mentioned that it was smart of him just to stay in the water instead of trying to swim to shore, just staying where he was because he can get exhausted or whatever, and the other guy was unconscious. So I think he held on to part of the ladder.
Yeah. I thought he reached up and put his arm over the bottom.
Yeah, that's how I imagine
Yeah.
1 and 1.
Yeah, that's what I think was happening as well.
So the boat gets there finally, boat traffic. Hauls them up.
They pull him in.
Yeah.
He is a hero. Of course, the video
Goes viral.
He saved him.
Mm-hmm.
And he ends up getting taken to the hospital to get checked out and everything. And so she freaking out about her kids seeing the video. Or no, she hadn't seen the video. But
She hadn't seen the video, but she also hasn't talked to her kids yet. So she was afraid that her kids were going to watch the video before they get to talk to them.
And so she goes to the hospital. He's getting checked out, all the things, getting all the tests done. And they end up finding out that the driver had a seizure. And so, drove off, whatever. He's hometown hero. And of course, he's like, I hate this.
They're like, oh, you should go talk to the reporter, talk to Hero. The doctor said
that there's there's reporters waiting for them outside.
He's like, I just want to go home. Do you think I've earned that? And I was like,
Yeah.
Really lay it on thick. So he gets checked out that night in the middle of the night, right? Because they already had a babysitter planned because they were going to go out for their anniversary.
Yeah, because they were already out, and then they had somebody there with them.
Yes.
And yeah, so he's okay. They're like gonna release him, and they end up like sneaking out the back, get away from the reporters, go home. She's like, on the kids, like, he's okay. Because then by the time I seen the video, yeah, they're all scared, all the things, but everything was okay. And we kind of get a little, so he's hometown hero. They're happy, beautiful family, high up in the community. Yeah, and we kind of get a little bit of a flashback here to like previous them as a family, and we find out that Marcy was a like more big time lawyer. She was a criminal in Chicago. Yeah. And so she's a criminal attorney, and I guess the case where she ended up like deciding to leave was she took on a big case with a guy, Silas Renfro, and he was Michael Cagnina.
I liked that name, Cagnina. I was like, interesting. Yeah,
so she was representing Silas Renfro, who basically was a hitman for the mob boss Michael. So something happened where all the witnesses for the case against Michael Cagnina, which Silas was supposed to be like one of the witnesses against him, basically. He Halloween massacre where all of the witnesses got unalived. Yes. And so, including Silas. And so basically she had no case anymore. It was like a whole thing. Yeah. The FBI were like super pissed. They kind of went into more detail from the agent that was on the case, Agent Blair. Yeah. He was like upset because they ended up getting Michael Cagnina on like tax charges. Yeah. And so he did get put away for like 12 years. But obviously, he's a major.
They Al Caponed him.
And so he's like pissed that all of them got murdered. So we had that little like glimpse into Marcy's past, basically. I think kind of because they were like she was kind of going into like after he saves a person, like I don't want to be part of like any crazy, like whatever.
And then it made her think about what her life was previously.
Yeah,
because she was originally from
Hemingway. Yeah, she grew up.
She grew up there,
and then she like wanted to get out and be a big time lawyer, and then that happened, and she came back to be with David. So she was kind of like, it was kind of like the craziness happening, and like reminiscent of like the life had like settled down and all the things. So yeah, we get that glimpse. After that, they are trying to like go back to their normal lives, kids, house, work, all the things.
The mornings, Monday mornings. Get your shoes on.
They're making breakfast. They're doing the thing.
Where's your backpack?
And a couple of like weird things kind of happen that morning. So the first thing, she's like,
she can't find the dog.
That's not the first thing.
That's not the first thing?
No, the first thing was she went to make coffee.
She can't find the coffee pot. I was thinking about you so hard on this.
Yeah, I would have.
You're like the only one that drinks coffee?
Yeah.
I would say the only one that drinks.
If I could not find
the coffee pot,
somebody would be.
And she's like asking her husband, have you seen the coffee pot? Where's the coffee pot? She cannot find this thing. She just wants coffee.
They're trying to get
the kids ready, get them dressed. One of them doesn't want to get out of bed. They end up finding the coffee pot in the dryer.
Yeah.
And she's like, what is the coffee pot doing in the dryer?
But she kind of like, whatever, that was weird kind of thing.
Can't find the lunchbox. The lunchbox was in the backyard.
Yeah.
It was like really,
so
like,
lunchbox was in the backyard, and then they went out to go get the lunchbox because they could like see it. And that was whenever they realized the dog was missing. Yeah. So then chaos ensues.
They're trying to get the kids out. They're like, what is going on? And they're like, it's just a Monday morning, David was saying. There's just like weird random things. And everything was accounted for, but just like completely.
It was just like a chaotic ass morning. So you just don't think of it as anything other than like it's just going down. They
Kids can't put the things where they're supposed to go.
and dog gets out because I think
She's like the puppy's gotten out before. He'll come to me. And the dog had gotten out before because it's a small dog and it is gets in between the picket fences and whatever. What's the dog's name? Lucy? I don't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
So dog gets out. They're frantically trying to figure that out. She's like, I have to go to court. I have to go to school. All the things.
David, he continues to look because he's the owner of the bar, so somebody else is opening it. Yeah. So he continues to look while Marcy goes to drop off the kids, goes to court, and then comes back to help locate the dog because they still can't find the dog.
Yeah. She's like sending out messages to her like, Mom, order and everything, and she's like, please keep an eye out. And so they're freaking out that the dog is like gone or dead or something.
Yeah, because they think coyotes may have gone it.
There's like a wooded area that
they're on a green belt.
Coyotes could have got her
By a coyote.
So they're struggling to find her. Was it Lulu?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
It just popped in my head.
I knew it was an L.
So they come back to the house. I don't know, big break group. I don't remember why. She's in the backyard.
Yeah.
And so they're like, what the heck? And then like maybe she was like hiding behind the bush or something. But Marcy was kind of like, I don't really know because normally, because she's like a puppy, she'd like come running up to them. So it's kind of weird that if she was back there, she wouldn't have come to them.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty normal, like any dog.
Yeah. That's what I do with their people.
Yeah. So
or they'll like make a point of like, you can see me, but you can't catch me.
Yeah.
Like play that game.
Yeah. So anyway, it was kind of just overall like a crazy morning. And I kind of chalk it up to that.
Yeah.
I guess.
They're like, tomorrow's going to be a new day. The afternoon's going to be fine or whatever.
Yeah. Which I think the next day or shortly after, it's actually Halloween.
Yeah.
Which I think is another reason why we were kind of getting these flashbacks to Marcy's past because the like murders of all the witnesses happened on Halloween.
Yeah.
As well. It was like whatever anniversary. Maybe it was.
I was going to say, but I thought it was 10, but then it was. It couldn't be 10. It had to have been.
Theirs weren't.
No, theirs was 10. I remember that. Because the kid is 13. The daughter is 13.
I thought she was 12, but I mean, still that would. Wait, what? That still wouldn't make sense either.
Hang on. I'm tripping. Yeah, because the son is like 7, 8, and the daughter 12, 13. There was some significant anniversaries. Maybe 15. We'll go with 15.
This really doesn't matter at all. There was some significance to Halloween, and it was like whatever anniversary of like that happening on her last case.
I thought it was
yeah.
I didn't think that much into it. I just thought it was because it was Halloween and Halloween. I didn't think about the year. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, she got like the text from her like old colleague or whatever about it.
That was on the case.
Yeah, and it was like the anniversary thing. That's the only reason I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's Halloween. They're doing family things. Kids go trick or treating, all this stuff. Marcy's still a little bit like wound up about
the dog,
the whole morning situation from the day previous. Then Lincoln is like late coming back. He decided he wanted to go trick or treating by himself. He's like coming back. She starts like instantly panicking.
Yeah, it's dark now. He said that he was going to be home at a certain time. They try and call him. He's not answering. He has like one of those kid watches that's a phone and a tracker. He's not answering it, and they realize that it's in his room. And she's like, it's okay, don't panic yet, because he just forgot it. Yeah. He's a kid, he's not expected to like figure out how time works yet. She's like, but the dog went missing.
So she's freaking out, and then David's like, it's okay, like, I'm going to try to find him. As he's going to do that, Lincoln, he's like, oh, it's fine. But then they are doing the thing that all families do, like going through their candy or whatever.
Make the trades.
Yes. And they end up finding a dead rat in Lincoln's candy. Somebody put it in his candy bag, candy bucket.
Be wound up about that.
Yeah, I would have been losing my mind. I think they called the police at that point. Or maybe they just ended up telling them later.
I don't think they called the police yet.
The police end up finding out, but
Yeah.
maybe at a later point.
Yeah, I thought that had to do whenever the next thing that happens. But anyway, she's like freaking out. She wants to throw away all of the candy, and then David's like, "No, we'll just throw out Lincoln's candy." What's her name? Grace. Keep hers, and Grace was like, "Okay, you can have half of my candy."
Yeah.
And she's like, "That was very kind of her." And I think it has to do with like how frantic her parents
for being like panicking. So she's like, "It's fine, you can have half my candy."
Which was a very nice big sister too.
So it was just like one more weird thing that happened. Went on with the rest of their evening. Went to bed. Yeah, to bed.
Yeah, they were starting to
Whatever. And all of a sudden they see like lights or like flickering outside their window.
Yeah.
So just what the heck? They run downstairs and
they think somebody's out there. And so David's like, "Stay here. I'm gonna go check it out." She's like, "Hey, I'm not gonna stay here."
yeah.
So they go out to the patio, back patio.
Well, they run down and then they see the fire on the patio. And so then, of course, David runs out and then it ends up that it's the grill. Like somebody had
started a fire in
the grill. Like charcoal, everything. Like,
yeah.
That had the flames going.
Interesting.
And
so now they know somebody's missing.
Yeah, Marcy's like, "I think somebody's doing this, whatever." David still was like, "It's probably just like a prank."
Yeah, because it's Halloween night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
their
she's
version
like,
of
it's
it.
dangerous, like all the things.
Yeah.
So she's like losing her mind over it. I don't know what point the cops get involved.
I'm pretty sure it has to do with the next one, with the break-in, and then all the writing on the wall.
Maybe. Well, the writing didn't happen until
later, but their house was broken into like twice.
Yeah. So the first one. What was the first break-in? Do you remember what happened? They knew somebody broke in somehow. I don't remember if like the back door was open. No, because that's what happened the second time. I don't remember how they knew the first one.
Something happened on the first one because whenever it was broken into again, that's when Marcy was like, "No, David didn't tell me about that one."
Yeah, that's when the writing thing happened.
Yeah.
But I don't remember how they knew somebody broke in the first time because that was when
they just left the door open in the back.
No, but that's what happened. Unless it happened in both, maybe. I don't know. Somehow they realized like somebody broke in, but because they like live in a small town, like kind of like nothing ever happened. Basically, they did not set their alarm. So that's why I was saying I couldn't remember like how they knew because
they didn't. Yeah, after the first one, they started setting an alarm,
and so, which is how I remember that I know the back door was left open in the second one because
that's what
triggered the alarm.
Yeah,
but I don't remember what happened for the first break-in. Maybe the door was just open. I don't know.
I thought the door was just open because she was like, "Oh, the back door is open. Someone was in here." She called the cops. Somebody was in here, and they're like, "Well, what's going on? Is anything missing?" And she was like, "I don't think so, but things have been weird." Like, and then she starts saying like all of these weird things that have been happening to them.
But I thought that she didn't go in first. I thought that like she was alerted somehow because when she got there, they were like, "You should stay outside," and they were like,
"Girl, I don't know."
Antics. It doesn't really matter. Their house got broken into. The cops came, and then basically they were like, "It doesn't seem like anything happened. Like they didn't damage anything,
nothing
missing anything." Yeah. They like went through the rooms and saw like the kids had like an iPad on their bed. Like so, obviously, like there was jewelry on her dresser. So if it had been like a burglary, that stuff would have been taken. And so she's like, "I think somebody's like messing with us, targeting us, whatever." And she ends up telling about the fire and all the things, and
the rat and the candy, the dog going missing, things being in weird places, and all of these are seemingly innocent.
Yeah, it's not like harmful, but like
it's also like sinister.
Yeah, and super. Honestly, like violating, like invasive. So
yeah,
I can imagine like I'll be losing my mind.
Yeah, like don't set fire in my grill that's right next to my house. Like don't take my dog,
bro. Crazy. So with that being said, then like things escalate. They start setting their alarm. all the things. And while they're gone to work one day, the alarm goes off, and David gets there, and police are there. All the
police
things.
get there first, and then the police go in because the door is open and the alarm's going off.
Yeah,
so
they're
just
checking things out.
And then
I think Marcy was like still at work. David makes it there first. And so they're like talking whatever, and whoever broke in, like spray painted
something in the foyer. The cops are like, "Oh, do you want to make a police report for insurance?" And he's like, "No, it's probably." He tries to play it off, and it's like, "No, it's probably some kids. They're messing with us, whatever." He like kind of brushes them out.
Which the cops are kind of like, this is weird because he was like, "Oh no, like it's totally fine, like vandalism and everything."
Yeah, we
just-
don't get
just go,
vandalism
just
in
go,
this tiny house.
like brushing them.
Tiny town.
Yeah. Oh, so he is being weird. Also, like, kind of side note, just to add this in here, one of the cops, Kyle, is like even more suspicious. I think because he has a little bit of a crush. Well, he has a little bit of a jealousy thing because him and Marcy were like high school sweethearts, and she basically broke up with him because she was like, "I want to get out of this town. I don't want to stay here forever." And he's kind of got a chip on his shoulder because he's like, and then you ended up doing that with him.
Yeah.
He came back with him. She's like,
So he didn't want to do that with me.
yeah. And so he's kind of like, he is like the sergeant or something. So whatever. He's a little bit higher up. And he is already kind of like, I don't really love this guy. And then whenever he's acting weird, he's like, "You're being suspicious."
Yeah. There's something.
Yeah, something's not right here. So, along with that kind of happening and Kyle getting like,
Weird
what's
vibes.
going on, some things start to happen that Marcy is noticing.
David. Yeah. David starts acting really sus.
Yeah. There was one night where she like wakes up and he's not in bed and whatever, and so she like goes downstairs and he's talking on the phone, and she was like, "That's super weird," because she saw his phone like on the nightstand or whatever.
So she's like, "Was he on the house phone?"
Well, no, she was just like, "What is he doing?" Like whatever. And so she goes down and she overhears him say, "It's just not that simple." And then she's like, "David," and then he gets off the phone, whatever. I think it was later whenever they were talking about it. Or she was like, "How were we talking on the phone?" And he was like, "Landline." And she was like, "What the heck?"
That's whenever
like,
she confronts him about it. Yeah.
Okay.
About his weird behavior. So that happens, and there's some other instances as well that are like, it was weird.
Like she couldn't get a hold of it. Like she didn't know where he was at one point. Or something. Like,
she was trying to find him, and he said that he was at the bar. And then she went to the bar.
She went to go meet him at the bar, and one of the people that worked there was like, "Oh, he's not in." And she kind of got like a weird feeling, and so she texted him and was like, "Hey, I was gonna like come by for lunch," and he was like, "Oh no, we're totally slammed," like as if he was there.
Yeah, we're really busy.
And so she's like, "He's lying to me," and so Marcy's getting more suspicious of David. Kyle is also like starting to investigate, and then we meet another girl, Neil. I don't fully remember how she gets introduced.
She gets introduced just as her own chapter. Give her own beauty, right?
But
So she
was like talking to him, right? That's how we.
So we find out that Camille has her own POV. Not very many, but she has like a couple.
Yeah.
POVs, and one of them in the beginning is where she's watching the powers. So she's like driving by, looking at the home, like checking things out. David actually goes to the apartment that Camille is staying at. And he shows up there, and she's like, "Well, hey, we gotta leave," it's kind of elusive of like what the conversation is, but she's like, because we find out she's also pregnant, and so at this point the reader is like, "Oh, so you are cheating?"
Yeah.
You got another bitch pregnant.
Yeah, because then she's talking to like a friend of hers, and she's like, "He's gonna leave
What are
his
you
wife,"
doing? Yes.
and the friend's like, "He's never gonna leave," like blah blah blah. So it's very, we're like, "Dang, David out here got somebody knocked up."
Yep. Very original. So he's like, no, I'm gonna, it's not like he keeps saying it's not that simple, she's like, you need to tell Marcy the truth. He's like, I will, and she's like, the whole truth, everything. And he's like, all right, I will. And he kind of like leaves it at that. It kind of ends there.
Yeah.
He ends up going back home, and then Marcy notices like a car is like watching, like a small car SUV thing. Is watching the house, and she's like, this is weird, like we've been having like really weird instances, and she's like already on edge about everything. So she tells David. David's like, you don't really know if that's really
They were really
us.
Yeah.
And so
basically like, if you don't call the cops right now,
I will. I'm tired of this.
Stop at you, because he keeps trying to like de-escalate
Mhm.
the thing. So he calls the cops, and they end up increasing security at their house.
Yes. I have a couple patrol cars. And during all of this, Kyle starts kind of investigating on his own and getting some more information. So he finds out that David's been meeting with this other woman, and he has his own little questions with Camille.
Yeah, he tries to get some answers from her, and she's basically like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, she tries to feign like ignorance,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, kind of like gives him the wall.
Yeah.
You don't have a warrant, then you know how to speak to me.
Yeah.
Just like, is that what you're saying? Yes, no. And so in his investigation, he finds out, 1, David has some kind of relationship with her. 2, David's paying for the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
3, she's pregnant. 4, Marcy doesn't know it.
Yeah.
So he's like, obviously he's having an affair. Like, that was his conclusion. But
he thinks for sure
something's going on. And I'm trying to think of how, like, he gets the connection between David and the other thing.
I think through investigating Camille and stuff, and he was just like trying to find out more information from like Kyle's past, because
David's past?
that's what I meant. Like, Kyle was trying to figure out
David's past.
like where David came from, basically, like all the things, like to learn more about him, because he's like super suspicious.
David's past also comes to light. His backstory is that he was an orphan. Everything burned down in a fire. He has like
There's no pictures of him. There's like, he doesn't have any family.
Mm-hmm.
Like all this stuff. It's like leading in, or like feeding into Kyle's suspicions. During this time, we also get introduced to, brings more out of that FBI agent Blair.
Yes.
Because he comes on the scene, and he is like doing an investigation of his own.
Mm-hmm.
For like stuff, and he starts looking into David, because things are suspicious with like how much money they have, and he's like a pub owner, and
he's paid everything in cash.
Yeah,
the house is in cash, all the renovations, all these things.
They seem like they have a lot of money, and
where is it coming from?
So FBI starts looking into David. Kyle's now looking into David, and Marcy's suspicious of David.
Mm-hmm.
So Marcy ends up like doing her thing, whatever, and she just finds like more lies of his, and so she ends up confronting David, and is basically is like, are you having an affair?
Yeah.
And he's like, what the hell is going on?
She gets mad at him for something. Like, she gets suspicious, and he snaps at the daughter about something, and because she didn't want to do it, and he's like, just do it, blah blah blah, and she's like, what the hell? Yeah, you never snap at any of the kids, and especially not the daughter. Yeah. And so she's like, okay, we need to have this conversation. She's like, David, let's take a walk outside, and it's snowing. And he's like, now? He's all irritated. He's like, yes, now. So they walk to the end of the driveway, and that's whenever she like confronts him about
all the things, and she's like,
and she just blurts it out.
Yeah, she ends up telling him that he was at the restaurant. Remember, he told her that like he was there, and she was basically like, "Oh, you're like you were testing me or whatever." Yeah, and she was like, don't even try to like like, yeah, I was testing you, like, so what? Basically, like, don't try to, like, turn this around as, like, I can't believe you would do that type of thing. And, so he ends up telling her, she's like, I need to know, like, are you having an affair with her? And then he's like, basically, that's ridiculous. And, he's like, no, I'm having money problems. And so he's like, yeah, it's like not going so well. I'm like stressed out about all this stuff. And which also feeds into like what the FBI is looking into with him.
Yeah, and it goes into the phone call.
Yes,
like that. It's
because
not that simple.
Yeah, because he was saying that he was like the day that he was gone from the restaurant was
He
like
was at the bank trying to get a loan.
So he basically has the answer
for everything. And I think she wants to believe him, but then she's also has it in her head that he's being like really evasive about things.
Mm-hmm.
And then also he has an answer for everything. She wants to believe him because she loves him, but I like how she was like, okay, so we're going this route, like you were saying about the testing. She's like, oh, okay, great. You're gonna do the deny, evade, make accusations approach. I'm like, you go, girl. You're a lawyer. Call it. So I think in the end, she pretty much believes him.
Yeah, she's like, okay, yeah, like whatever. So they move on from that. After that, Kyle. So wait, the FBI agent
gets contact with her.
No, breaks in to the pub or whatever because he like first he like goes to visit and then he's acting like he's a fan of he wants his autograph for the hero thing, the saving the guy up. I forgot about that. And so he ends up talking to him and basically gets like the key code to the pub. And so then he gets in the pub like late at night, whatever, and is looking at all the receipts and is like basically like boom, got you for
vaccination.
Well, embezzlement. Yeah. And so he's talking about that, and then meantime that Kyle goes to meet with like an old detective or something, and basically that was on the case that Marcy was a part of. He was like one of the detectives like during that, and he like went to go get more information because he's trying to figure out like who's doing this to them and trying to figure out like what's up with David and all the things.
Right.
So he meets with him. They talk about how Michael Cagnina, the mob boss guy, was just released out of prison like a couple months before. And so he's like thinking maybe there's something with this, whatever. And basically after talking to this guy, it's kind of alluded to the fact that Silas, the guy that Marcy was representing, the hitman that like murdered like 30-something people,
was claimed that he died right before his trial.
No, he died in the like bombing thing, the like massacre of all the witnesses.
That's right.
But it's like there's a rumor that he didn't actually die. That he somehow escaped. And so he's like freaking out because also one thing that we learned about when Marcy was representing him was that basically they didn't even meet really face to face with him. They only like saw his eyes.
If anybody knew what he looked like, it would be Marcy because she was representing him, and she was like, actually no, I've never seen his face. I've only seen his eyes, and they were like blue.
Yeah,
that's what
because they had him like it was super secretive because it was like a big deal because he was going to be like testifying and all that stuff, and he had like plastic surgery because like and he was going into witness protection like after that and whatever. And so David like Kyle puts it all together and he's like, David is Silas. And he's like, he came back and like married her and like
she's in on it because she knows what he looks like.
So he's freaking out thinking that all this was happening. And
what a crime story, man.
Like crazy. Faked your own death. And then after that, Kyle goes, I think he goes to Marcy. And that was when he basically confronts her and he's like, did you know, like...
Yeah, because he pulls her over because she's like speeding. And because she needs to get to the kids. I can't remember why she wants to get to the kids, pick them up from school. But she's like speeding. Kyle pulls her over and he's like, gives the hard cop kind of thing. And she's like, what's going on? And then that's whenever he like confronts Marcy and just being like, did you know about it? I know
Asking
who it
crazy
is.
questions. And she's
Uh-huh.
like, what the fuck are you talking?
And then
He's like,
do you know who this woman is? And she's like, what woman? Like, and he starts like, starts telling her all these things just to see how she's going to react about it. He's like, and then he realizes that because he also spills that someone broke into the house again and sprayed painted that message in the house, and she didn't. And he was like, "What did you cover that up or whatever?" She's like, When did somebody break into the house?" And he's like, "Earlier today or whatever." And she's like, "I didn't even know about that." And he goes, "David didn't tell you?" Yeah. And so she's starting to like why didn't David tell me? Like, I need to get to the kids. So now who are these people? It's ridiculous. I don't know what Silas looks like.
So she's freaking out, like, all the stuff that he's basically, like, kind of revealing. Ends up realizing, like, she really doesn't know what we know. And so, then Marcy is, like, trying to, like, look deeper into David, whatever, ends up finding, like, I think she finds a photo of Silas whenever he was, like, young. And so she was like, could this, like, be him?
She's like, yeah, with some plastic surgery, some
like, there's
life
some
changes.
similarity.
Yeah.
And so she's like, maybe it could be. She's like going back and forth, and she's like convincing herself. She's like, no way did he, like, the man that I met that was like a cold-blooded killer and was like killing people basically could
be this person.
Yeah.
The person that she married and how he is with the kid.
Yeah, like he couldn't fake it for that long basically. And so she's like, I'm seeing things, but like I'm not convinced this is it. And so all the things. So then David is like at the pub trying to like.
She goes. So after the thing with Kyle, I have to go in order because I can't. I'm trying to think. So after Kyle pulls her over and whatever, she's like, okay, well, are you arresting me or am I free to go? Because she's a lawyer. Yeah. Criminal lawyer, so she knows her rights. And he's like, well, whatever. So she goes and picks up the kids hastily in the middle, I believe it's in the middle of the school day, or towards the end of the school day. They hadn't been released yet. And so she gets to the house. She yells at the kids to stay in the car. She's going to go in and check the house because I think the break-in happened that morning. I believe it happened that morning. And she goes into the house, goes straight to the foyer, and looks at the wall because the wall's blank. Because Kyle ended up showing her, like, yes, somebody broke into your house. Like, here's the picture that the cops took of it. And it had that message in red spray paint or whatever. And she's like, that's crazy. David didn't tell me all these things. So she goes in the house and she...
At that point was when we found out the message says, I know who you are.
I know who you are. Yes. And she's like, is he? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. So she goes to the house, she goes to the foyer, and it's like perfect. It's pristine, you know? Mm-hmm. And then she looks closer and she realizes it's a fresh coat of paint. So it was covered up. And so she tells the kids to, go do their homework, whatever. And she's like freaking out. So she does some more digging in his office at the house, and that's whenever she finds some documents and paperwork or whatever. And so she holds on to this, waiting for David to return home from the day because she's going to confront him about it. Mm-hmm. So then it pans to David closing up the pub at the pub, and he's in the back alley closing it up, and then he runs into somebody there. So he's closing up. There's this guy wearing black with a black hood over his head, and he has a pistol. I don't know. He had a gun, and he had a long silencer on. Yeah. And he tells him, you're very smart. I wasn't sure if you were who I thought you were, and it's kind of being elusive to his identity. Yeah. And so David's like, he plays dumb. He's like, please don't shoot me. I have a family. I have a wallet. You can have that. And I can get you some more money from inside. Please, please, please. Portrays that he's an innocent bystander being mugged. And he's like, you're so good at acting. He kind of plays along. Yeah. And it's okay, I know who you actually are. David realizes, fight or flight or whatever. And in the moment, he how I imagined it is he stepped towards the guy and like pushed the barrel down with his hand, and the guy shot, and it shot his leg, and so the guy ended up running away, leaving. David then makes a call, and then laying bleeding in the alley.
Yeah.
So at this point, Bill calls Marcy and says, "Are you home? David's been shot. I'm picking you up. We're going to the hospital." And she's like, "Is he even alive?" And he's like,
That's all it is.
"That's all the information I have. We're gonna go to the hospital." She's like, "The kids," and he's like, "There's 2 patrol cars outside. They're coming inside. They're gonna watch the kids and whatever." And so she's like, "Okay." So he pulls up. The cops go inside the house to watch the kids. She leaves with Kyle, and they end up going to the hospital. While at the hospital, he Kyle is also like still trying to like convince her that David is not who he says he is, and
Yeah,
he also not remember, but realizes that Marcy has no idea. Like,
Yeah,
he believes that Marcy has no idea,
But he still is like, I think it's
Silas is David, and she's like, no. She's just like, whatever. He's shot. He's gonna die. And so they get to the hospital, and she demands to see David before he goes into surgery because when he was shot, it hit a femoral artery. He was like bleeding out profusely. So they stopped the bleeding with like a tourniquet or whatever. And he's about to go in surgery, and she's like, this may be the last time I see him alive. Like, I have to talk to him. And the doctor's like, 30 seconds. Like, why is the doctor talking to you? Gotta go. But anyway, so she goes to him, and he's on the gurney, and he's like all bloodless. And and she's like, "I love you. I believe you." Then she whispers something to him, and he whispers something back to her. At this point, she's like, "I have to ask him this question." And she asks, I don't know if it's revealed, but she asks this question. And so after that, he goes into surgery. He's rushed into surgery, all these things. And so they're back in the waiting room or something, in another room, still at the hospital, and she's back with Kyle. At this point, the FBI agent goes back, and he's like asking Marcy all these like weird questions, and she's like, "He's been shot, blah blah blah," and all these things, and he's like, "Well, who?" I can't remember if it was the FBI agent or if it was Kyle that brought this up to Marcy, but about the phone call that he made on the
I think it was Kyle.
Because he ended up showing Marcy the video footage from the alley where he got shot, and they're like, "Do you recognize this person?" And she's like, "Well, no." And they're like, "Oh, well, he made a phone call, and we know it wasn't you, so who did he call? Because it wasn't us. We got a random call." So I couldn't even imagine. Like, who are you calling in this moment? If it's not 911 and it's not your wife, suspicious.
Yeah.
So she kind of like doesn't answer any questions. She just is kind of like, kids. I'm gonna talk to my kids. Blah blah blah. She's like, "This is a lot." Throwing a lot of stuff at me, which is crazy. I don't know if that happens in real life or something. That's like literally this huge trauma just happened. But she's like, she wants to go back to the house so she can talk to the kids before they wake up. So all this happens while they're asleep. I don't remember how she gets to the other girl.
So she ends up getting the kids and going back to the hospital. And Camille shows up there. And she's like, "Do you know who I am?" And she was like, "Yes." She knew through like Kyle telling her all shit.
Yeah.
And then basically at some point, I'm trying so hard to remember this all goes down. So Camille is there and she's like, "I have to go," and she
asks Camille to watch the
kids.
Because she gets confronted by somebody about the money. Because she realizes that Camille doesn't know about the money and somebody else doesn't know about
Kyle, because nobody knows about this.
Nobody knows.
Kyle thinks that he's Silas.
Kyle thinks he's Silas.
I think she was confronted by
the
stylist.
Yeah. So
I don't remember how though.
She's confronted by the guy that has the hoodie.
Yes.
And he's like,
I don't remember where he confronts her. I felt like it was like in a.
It was just a parking garage in the car.
I was gonna say, or did she took a cab back to the house because Kyle had driven her to the hospital.
Yeah.
And he was there.
Yeah.
And so
he was in the car.
And he like takes off his hood or he's there or whatever. And she's like,
he's driving and she catches the eyes.
And that's the only
that she recognizes. So she's like, that's Silas. And he's like, where's the money? I need the money. And she's like, I know where you're
about.
She's like, there's no, I don't know what it is. And he's like, I know that David had the money. Don't lie to me. I don't.
And I know you're on all the
accounts,
safety deposit boxes and whatever, or like whatever. So he's like, you need to get me the money.
And he's like, I'm gonna kill you and your kids. She's like, okay, like whatever. So he drops her off like a block from the house because there's a ton of cops at her house.
So she's gonna go get the kids, and then she's supposed to
tells the kids what's happening. She takes the kids
with the dad murderer.
Yes, she takes the kids from the house, and she's driving. They go back to the hospital. The kids stay there and are waiting in the waiting room because he's still in surgery.
So she's like, I have to go. Basically, gonna go meet this guy, whatever. She's like, I'm gonna go to the bank and try to like see if this money is there.
Camille shows up at the hospital. Realizes Camille doesn't know anything about the money, and she's like, I need you to watch the kids, take care of the kids for me. And she's like, okay, I'll do that. So she then goes to, yes, you're right, to the safety. She goes and buys like these huge, what are they called? Suitcases. And she goes to the safety. Where?
Because the FBI Agent Blair, comes to her and is like, he's like, you need to help me like solve this. Like, I know the money. He knows about the money. Yeah. So like he comes and he's trying to convince her to basically do like a sting operation. And she's like, yeah, and she's like, he told me like no cops, whatever, and he's like, trust me, like we've done this a million times, and like you'll be safe, and like if you want.
Oh, so they can get the money at Silas is how he's portraying it to Marcy.
Well, and because he's like, you don't want to go to jail for, because he's like, you knew about all this, like you're on the thing. He's like saying that there too, and so he's like, if you don't help us, like you're gonna go down for all this shit. And so she's like, okay, like I'll do it. It's like, don't worry, doing these operations before, it'll be fine. So she ends up getting the suitcases, and going to the bank, and she's like, I don't even know if they're gonna.
She doesn't even know about these accounts, let alone
just know how much is in them, what's in them, if she's going to be able to
if she's even on the accounts to get access, all these things. So she gets there, and she's like, I need access to my safety deposit boxes. And the teller's like, oh, yes, Miss Barry's right this way, and you need all of them? Yes. And so she goes, and she opens one of them, and it has, 3 separate letters?
No, it was empty. There was 5 safety deposit boxes, and they're all empty except for the last one that has a note.
Yes.
And so she reads the note, whatever, and then she's like, I can't go back out there, blah blah blah. Like they're gonna, he's gonna kill me, all the things. And so she ends up coming up with a plan.
I thought this is where there was a note, of course, but there's also other envelopes with all of this evidence, and has a lot, a 10-page note, a short note, and then this other. And it also has a burner phone. It has a cell phone in it.
I thought she got that. I thought she got this. Whatever. She ended up with it.
So she doesn't read them. The reader doesn't know what they say, but she skims through it, whatever. And she's like, I'm choosing to trust you, David. Blah, blah, blah. And so she goes back out, and she's like, it has to be a good quality phone because she made a call, and she was surprised that the call had gone through because she was in the basement and there's a bunch of concrete. And then it pans to the FBI agent, and he's like, what are you doing? And because he's like sitting out there waiting.
He's like,
and
she
he
really
realized,
come out anytime.
and
He's like, yeah.
And then people start running out of the bank, and he's like, "What did you do, Marcy? What did you do?" She bends back to her. I don't know how all this happens, but goes back to her. She's in the women's stall with her feet up and like holding the suitcase up. And while there's officers clearing the thing, she makes her exit out the back or something.
Yeah.
And so
She pulled the fire alarm.
She pulled the fire. Oh. Yes.
Right? So everybody was like leaving, and then the cops were like, trying to check everything out. And so then while that happened, and then after they came into the bathroom, and like nobody, she like sneaks out the back.
Yes.
So she's on the run.
She's on the run.
So then she's running, and she was trying to get. That's why I wasn't like sure about the phone thing, because she
has the phone,
but she was like, she couldn't turn on her phone because there would be tracking, and she needed to log into something.
She needed to log into her email so she can email the evidence to Kyle. So what she ends up doing is
she's like, I need internet.
Because she was trying to log in on the burner phone, but she couldn't because she had to reset her password to.
No, that was at the thing, at the cafe. So she runs, and she's like trying to figure out what to do, and she's like trying. She's like, I can't turn on my phone to email it, but I need to get this like over to him.
Yeah.
And so then she ends up seeing the cafe or remembering that the cafe is closed or something. And she's like, it's an internet cafe. And so she's like, I can go in there and like use the computer and like send this off. But she gets on the computer, she like gets the 1 hour time or whatever she wants to do. And she tries to log into her email on there, and it's like doing the thing like, we sent you a code. And so she's like, okay, I'm just going to turn on my phone for literally like
just
1 second to get it. So she does it, she gets the code, turns it off, does it, and sends the email. Right as she's doing that, Silas
is like making the way.
So she does that, and then we end up finding out during all that Silas and the FBI agent
are
actually working together. So they were like, the FBI agent, Blair was like calling the FBI, I guess, and he's like, I need you to track this number. Like, if it comes on at all, like, can you track it? So when she turns it on, he gets
alerted.
And so he's like, she's at this lodge. She's like in this radius, and she's like, he knew like a smaller area. And so then he was like, look around for any, like, I forgot what he said, but he said like certain types of places. And then they realized like where she was at, because he saw I forgot what the cafe was called, but it was like obviously internet. And so he sends Silas there. Silas goes, and he's like, remember, like, look, we need to get the money first.
Think through, think things through.
So he goes right as she's like trying to wrap up. Silas like walks in. She again escapes out the back. They are chasing after her, and she ends up going to the bridge.
Yes. So she ends up going to the bridge with all these suitcases. She turns on her phone and she calls, what's his name? Blair. She calls Blair. No, first she calls Kyle. She's like, she's like, he's like, and then Kyle answers, and he's like, don't run, Marcy. Don't run, you're going to make it worse. What? I'm not running. Just look at the email I just sent you, and whatever.
Yeah, I sent it over.
I sent it over to you. I'm not running, blah, blah, blah.
Also, something we have to discuss earlier. But the reason, so obviously Silas was revealed as like A, being still alive, but B, was not David. And is working with the FBI agent. But then we actually find out through, I guess, like what they found and what Marcy got a hold of, that David was actually somebody else. But his name was Wesley Price.
Yes.
And he was basically like an accountant for the mob boss Nina. And so he was also due to testify against him. And before he went into hiding, he stole $20 million of his money and then went into hiding. And
so that's why everyone's looking for this.
Yeah, because they want the $20 million. So he goes to the bridge. And
she alludes that she has the money in these suitcases.
Yeah.
And she calls Blair, and so he pinpoints her location because it's on her phone. And he tells Silas, hey, you come from the south side, I'll come from the north side, and we'll pin her, and she's on the bridge. She's like, and while she's on the bridge, she's like, if this never happened, this never would have come to light, we wouldn't be in this situation. But David, being David, had to go and rescue the drowning person.
Because of that going viral, that's what made the FBI agent first see him pop up.
Exactly.
So she's like, all of this started because of that.
Mm-hmm. And full circle.
Yeah.
So they start, she's in the middle of the bridge, and they start kind of circling her.
Yeah. And she's talking to Blair, and she's like,
I know you're dirty.
Like,
I know you're working with Silas.
Like, I'm going to tell everything. I'm going to see, like, take the money and go. Like, leave me alone, basically.
Yeah.
And he's like, nobody's going to believe you, like an FBI agent over, like, the wife of this
embezzler,
all the things.
And then he's like, well, that's funny because Silas is here. Silas is here.
And she had also, so that's the whole thing. And he's like, no, like, we can work together. And she's like, yeah, but like, what about him? And so then, boom, Blair shoots him.
Oh, yeah.
She shoots Silas.
I was like, boom, I thought you're she's like, you're only here for the money. And then she kicks the money, like, 2 of the bags, the suitcases into the river.
She's like, no. Because also, we didn't say this, but she, like, handcuffed all the suitcases and herself.
Yes.
And
she's like, no one's getting this money. Kicks it off. And he's like, no, blah, blah, blah. 10 million better than 0 million. So
he shoots
Silas.
Like, no, like, we're working together. It's fine. Like, he's out of it. He's dead now.
And he's like, you're going to be a hero. And he starts spinning this whole other story now where they get to keep the money. They can split it half 50-50. Like, he'll never see him again. Yeah, all these things. And she's like, no.
Yeah.
I'm tired of this.
Yeah. And so she kicks off the rest of the money.
Yeah. Kicks off the rest of the money. He steps in to, like, grab it, and then
no, he was too far from her.
I thought, how did she end up in the water?
She was in the water with the things, and she was, like, handcuffed to it, and so she, like, kicked him off because she also knew Kyle was, like, coming, like, bringing the police, or the police were coming, and so, like, right as they're showing up, she kicks it off, and she, like, goes under with the suitcases, and then the police show up, and
we should also preface this before she goes. She does talk about going to, like, the store and buys, like, an insane amount of reams of paper and like life vests and, like, the kid handcuffs.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it doesn't really say, but I'm context clues that there's paper in some of the suitcases, like the reams of paper in some of the suitcases.
Yeah.
And there's life vests in the other ones. That's maybe what? I don't know.
Yeah. And then she got the, like, kids handcuffs, whatever. And so then also, never said this, but before she left the hospital, she actually finds out that
David is dead.
He didn't make it through. And so
Kyle, brain dead.
Kyle still doesn't know that Blair is, like, a dirty agent.
Yeah.
And so he's, like, talking to him. He's like, this was, like, before she sent the message, but he was like, basically, I can't believe, like, you were going to use her as bait, blah, 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 blah. And then he ends up telling him that David just died. And he's like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And so that's, like, they went after her. So all that, just, like, for more information. So then, back to the bridge, he, like, goes under, Kyle shows up, or all the cops show up, whatever. He tries, like, he basically acts like he's gonna, like,
save her.
No, well, that's what he said he was gonna do, and he would look like the hero or whatever.
Yeah.
But then she went under, and they showed up, and I guess he, like, shot at them, but, like, knowing that he would go down, and so, like, he was shot by all the cops. And so he died.
Cool.
So he dies, all the things, and Marcy is declared dead. Also, she went under the water. And then it kind of ends with Marcy somewhere else.
Yes.
She's basically in witness protection with her kids. and faked her death so that way she could like legit run away. And so the toy hand. Okay, so ends up being with. So she's like faked her own death, whatever. Her and her kids are like at a lake house somewhere, whatever, and they're like living their best life. And she basically brings up she faked her own death and like got away. And that was the end.
That was the end. We also need to explain Camille. So Camille,
I think she
was, so David was not having an affair. Camille was his witness protection liaison.
Yeah, she was like in the FBI. She like helped him and whatever. She was pregnant from a married dude, from a married guy.
But it was
his
not-
wife, but it wasn't David. So that was like out of context, really.
Yeah,
They made it seem like it. So,
exactly.
But she, I guess, somehow figured this out basically through all the things like looking into David and whatever. And so that's why she knew that she could trust Camille to take care of the kids and all the things.
Yes.
So, and then she gave like all the evidence that she had.
Against Blair and Silas, which, I mean, they're both dead.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yep.
But,
And that was the book.
yep, it was interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of all over the place.
I mean, mystery.
It, I'm gonna say, it really got me with the David eating, because at the whenever Marcy asked Camille to watch the kids, I'm like, that big? Hi.
Yeah.
I was thrown. I mean, I kind of seen it, but that's a little nuts.
Yeah, because when they thought that he was Silas or whatever, they thought that like Camille was like Silas's
contact
girlfriend at that time. That was what all the like need to tell her everything.
Yeah. But she was also like a techie person in the state that kind of helped Silas escape. Right?
Yeah.
I think she actually did that.
I don't know. I thought she helped
David,
because he was supposed to testify also.
oh,
So
I thought she was helping Silas, and she was like kind of doing stuff, but she was helping David escape.
no, but her like old colleague and
Mhm.
stuff got a kickback for him because he knew that
Mhm.
Silas was gonna do that. And would you recommend this book to?
Yeah, it was a nice kind of read.
Yeah.
It was like a nice palate cleanser kind of read. Like,
Yeah.
it did kind of throw me. It did. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it did piss me off because like the whole, I want to say 2/3 of the book, you're like, this husband sucks. But I mean, yeah, I would read it. It's like as a transition or a palate cleanser kind of book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. I don't know that I'd like go out of my way to recommend it. I don't know if it pop up like that. But if somebody was like, oh, I was like thinking about reading this, or like, do you have a like
Easy
quick
read.
thriller to read, quick mystery to read?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'd probably throw this one out there.
Yeah, I agree.
Writing
Style, I thought it was pretty good. It didn't seem like clunky. You know, it seemed pretty like even in events. Things were going pretty smoothly with all of like how everything kind of gets revealed.
Yeah.
And it all kind of like packs on. I think that was a pretty smooth transition. I think twists aren't super twisty, but like just twisty enough to where like it wasn't obvious.
Yeah,
But
but
also
also it wasn't like just so completely off the wall. Like
be like
a big thing.
So yeah, that was pretty good.
I agree. There wasn't really anything that stood out to me with the writing, but it wasn't bad either. Writing.
Yeah, I agree.
Story.
It kept me engaged. Was like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
It kept me engaged, right, by wondering what was going on. I wanted to know what happened next, how it's all gonna unfold.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, the husband was getting like the evidence against the husband was helping me. Bit like that.
Yeah, I think once the like spray paint thing happened, that's where I was like, okay, this is not just like a cheating. Like there's more to this, and so I felt like it was good, and it wasn't. Yeah. Wait, what? And then whenever they first suspected he was like Silas, so I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I was like, she's a killer?
Right. Damn, that is sick. But I was like, okay, what happened next?
He coerced his lawyer to marry him.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I was like, that's a wild leap.
I felt like it was engaging all the time.
Raw ratings.
I gave it a 3.
I give it a 3.5. Yeah. I give it a 3.5. It
I
felt
don't
like
know
it was a
why I
little
thought
bit
you were
above
gonna go
average. What, 3?
I don't know. I just thought you were gonna go. I don't know. I think it's because we kind of talked
Mm-hmm.
and when you were in the middle of it and you were like not really liking it. And so I thought
I was like getting real pissed at the husband.
because you didn't tell me like really why you're liking it. You were just like telling me.
I didn't want to like
Yeah, I
you
know.
hadn't even until like 2 chapters in.
Yeah, and so I was like, what the heck? And so I thought you were gonna be, but I'm
Nah,
glad it turned around.
yeah, the ending really pulled through because if it ended up being the cheating husband, it would have been 2. So I hate it all the way through.
Yeah.
But I like that he ended up being a good guy and he
Right.
I mean, you do. He stole money from a mop-up. But yeah, I mean, that was pretty good. Y'all know if I would read it again. Is I like books like this that are like novels, like one that are like
In a world of us
engaging.
always being into like these deep stories or
Mhm.
long series.
Yeah. Anyway, next week we're doing something different. So we're going to be back on our bookish topics. Next week is What I'd Read If, Prompt Edition. We'll tackle all the big bookish hypotheticals, desert island picks, one genre for a year challenges, and reads we'd revisit if we were 13 again. Tune in for the bookish chaos and plenty of TBR feel.